Getting more bang for your buck on the Switch eShop is always a good thing, and with the 30-in-1 game collection Volume 1 priced at just under $15, you're looking at about 50 cents a game right here. But does more really mean better? Well, in this video that's what I intend to find out, as I've played through all 30 of these games to provide a rapid fire ranking of each of them from worst to best. So drop a like and sub if you enjoyed this one and are looking for more Nintendo Switch content, and let's get started. So I'll start by saying that the 30-in-1 games collection is the first of two such collections, and each of them contain a bunch of small score-based party games, 18 of which can be played with friends and the rest which can only be played solo, but I've provided a number of plays for each at the top of the screen. Now, the main menu of the game presents you with this rather snazzy globe around which orbit the games for you to select, and the way in which this one works is that you play each game and earn points in them to rank up to then unlock additional games. So you don't actually have all 30 unlocked to start with, and there's actually a lot of grinding involved to unlock them all. A quick tip though, to quickly unlock these games you can play the Frosty Hockey game over and over in 2-player mode, letting one player score. But you have 15 unlocked to start with, and you're able to filter games to multiplayer only and add them to your favourites list for easy access later. Finally, it's worth knowing that I played all of these games solo, so like me you'll have to judge for yourself whether or not you think they'd be more fun in multiplayer. With that said though, let's get into the games and start ranking them. Kicking things off with the bottom of the barrel then, first up we have Double Dodo Breakout, an endless runner game where you control the jumping of two dodos at the same time by hitting the X button to jump the top dodo and the B button to jump the bottom dodo. I've never been a fan of endless runners, but this one is particularly disorienting due to them running in two separate directions. In short, twice as annoying as your standard endless runner. Next we have Rooster R, a game which tasks you with bouncing eggs into nests by moving your rooster back and forth across the bottom of the screen. The game becomes near impossible pretty quickly due to multiple chickens laying eggs at once, and you also have these green eggs which when broken reverse your controls, making it even more impossible. Co-op mode would probably have made things easier, but sadly this is one player only. Flight of the Witch is yet another endless runner, or endless flyer as the case may be. You play as a witch and have to collect apples whilst avoiding flying into pumpkins and trees. You have 2 lives indicated by the black cats on the back of your broom and can snag pickups to restore them, and there are also cauldrons which reverse your controls. But the screen scrolls way too fast in this one and it's pretty disorienting. In short, pretty shy. Memory is our next game, and it is of course a memory game where you have to turn over cards to match symbols on them, with more cards added to the mix as you progress through the levels. It's pretty standard stuff and not much to be said about it, to be honest. Next up we have Hopper Jump, a game where you hop from stone to stone, B executing a single hop whilst A is a 2-stone hop. You race against the clock in this one and collect clocks to extend the time, and it could potentially be interesting in multiplayer, but playing single player is pretty boring. So Battalion is our next game, a game where you play as a Viking and have to punch birds in the face. It plays like an incredibly simple rhythm game as you punch birds away from 4 cardinal directions, charge up your shield with successful punches, and every so often a faster white bird will appear. It's a dull time to say the least. Space Rockets is a game where you fire rockets into a spinning moon and have to pin a certain number of rockets to it to progress. You earn points if a rocket lands close to others, and if a rocket hits another rocket, it's game over. Again, pretty dull. Coming in at 23 we have Underwater Escape, a game in which you have to shoot coloured lasers at incoming sharks. You have an upper and lower level to defend, and sharks come in 3 different colours as well as light and dark versions, with you holding the L button while shooting to darken your laser, and you can only kill sharks by firing the matching coloured laser at them. Again, not much fun this one. Cups of Truth is your basic ball and cup memory game where you have to keep track of the chess piece, pick the right cup, and after a few correct guesses, an additional piece is introduced. It's as basic as it sounds, and if you're even semi-decent at these games, you'll be able to win gold every single time. That is until the cups move so fast that it becomes near impossible. Canon Rescue is next, another simple score chaser where you have to aim your dart gun and shoot lizards on platforms, hitting headshots to create combos and earn extra lives. It's not particularly entertaining and the aiming feels very floaty in this one, and having to rotate it upwards with every single enemy is annoying as hell. Overall, another pretty dull game. Finally, at the low end of the spectrum, we have The Last Siege, a game which looks pretty good but plays like one of those really shitty tank battle games that you used to find on flash game websites. The objective in this one is apparently to defend the base from enemy tanks, but they all just drive around aimlessly shooting at absolutely nothing, and the movement speed is way too fast in the game. It's co-op only and a shoddy mess, which would definitely have played much better in versus mode. Heading into the slightly better games then, first up we have Meteors, which is basically asteroids with power-ups. It's okay, but the ship controls feel slippery as hell and hard to control, and the asteroids are way too big and have a habit of exploding directly into you. This might be one that plays much better in multiplayer though. Deep Cosmic Trip is a game where you hop from planet to planet as far as you can using your jetpack. The planets have gravity fields which you can use to your advantage, there are black holes which eat you, asteroids which damage you, and you can collect stars to increase your score and hearts to heal you. It's pretty simple and takes a bit of skill, but it's not particularly fun in my opinion. Fruit Invaders is a game which kind of plays like Space Invaders but shittier. You move your metal monkey head up and down a tree and fire bananas at incoming fruit spaceships and take 3 hits from them and you're dead. And they also have a habit of stacking up on top of one another, making things even more difficult. After a few kills you'll also charge up a missile attack which can take out multiple enemies, and there are crates which occasionally fall into the arena which increase your attack speed. It plays okay, but it's not great, and it's also pretty easy to beat. The Power of Colour is next, a game where you start off as one of 4 different colours and have to fly as far as you can, dodging your way through an assortment of rotating shapes which also come in a mixture of different colours, but you can only pass through the ones which match your own colour. You can speed up or hover on the spot which drains your meter in the bottom left, and there are energy pickups and colour changes to snag along the way. Again though, it's essentially another endless runner and the mechanics of the game are not particularly fun. Thor's Thunder is the first of the mid-tier games, and it's a rhythm-like game in which you have to push the controller's D-pad and face buttons to match the runes and directions displayed on incoming enemy shields. It's an interesting spin on the formula, but having multiple symbols to match is pretty confusing, like trying to pat your head and rub your tummy. As things progress, you'll also find that too many enemies come at once and end up overlapping one another, making it incredibly difficult, but overall not too bad of a game. Lava Bridge Builder is a skill-based game which has you holding the A button to build a bridge from platform to platform. The longer you hold the A button, the longer the bridge becomes, and hitting the centre of each platform awards more points. But building it too long or too short and you'll fall into the lava and it's game over. Incredibly simple but probably pretty decent in versus mode. Frost Hockey is our next game, and this one's essentially air hockey. Smack about the puck, hit A for a boost shot and score 4 goals to win. But the puck movement in this one is pretty jittery and you'll likely score more goals on yourself than your opponent. Should be a good one to play multiplayer though, and definitely the best game to exploit to earn points and unlock other games. So Block the Bug is the first of a few different puzzle games which has you placing down stones in the play area to block the path of a bug. With each stone placed, the bug will move towards the edge of the play area, eventually escaping, and it's your job to stop it. It's a pretty challenging game which requires a bit of forward thinking, but all in all not too bad. Fenic Fox Tower is an endless jumper which has you jumping up platforms whilst being pursued by rising water. Platforms come in a variety of different flavours, including slippery ice ones and ones that will break shortly after you land on them, and there are also snowballs to avoid which knock you off the platforms. You can collect random power-ups along the way which can either screw you over by reducing the size of platforms or changing them all into the brittle ones, or provide a snowball shield. It's simple but fun enough to play. Heading into the top 10 then, next up we have Jellify Pufferfish, a game which sees you swimming through an endless sea filled with treacherous pufferfish, collecting eggs before they hatch into even more pufferfish, and surviving for as long as possible. The game speeds up as it goes along, eggs hatch faster, and big fat bastard pufferfish appear, often out of nowhere, to screw you over. It's challenging and downright unfair at times, but an okay game, all things considered. Bouncing Fish is another water-based game which has you tapping the A button to bounce a fish back and forth across the screen whilst avoiding spikes and other nasty contraptions which appear and switch out occasionally. It's simple but quite addictive and could definitely offer a fun time in versus mode. Next up we have Mystical Totem, a game where you have to chop down totems to keep your body temperature up and avoid freezing to death. Hitting the B button chops from the left hand side whilst A chops from the right, and switching sides frequently is necessary to avoid poison traps and bumping your head, or to collect potions to restore some heat. It's fast and frantic and should be pretty decent in multiplayer. Super Vegan Anaconda is essentially Snake but with fruit instead of pixels to eat. Each time you eat a fruit, your snake grows longer, and bumping into the sides of the arena or into another snake costs you a life, but there are poison pickups which reverse your controls and an axe power up which reduces the size of your snake. It's not too bad, but your snake is way too big, and because of this I'm not too sure it will play too well in multiplayer mode. Alien Balloonists is up next, a rather cutesy game where you float around as a crocodile tied to balloons and have to land on top of enemy alien balloons to pop them, whilst also avoiding getting your own balloons popped. There's a fair bit of skill involved with it, with you able to pop both the balloon and the parachute of enemies to instantly eliminate them, and there are also a few power-ups to grab. All in all, not too bad, and again, probably pretty decent in multiplayer. Viking Defense is a shooting gallery style game which has you defending your stronghold from pirate ships. There are 4 kinds of pirates, each taking more hits than the previous, and exploding barrels and crates which give you powerful shots can help you take them down easier. My one gripe with the game is that the cursor movement speed is way too slow, and you also have to be pretty precise, but overall it's an okay game. High-Tech Lines is another brain-teasing puzzle game, having you form 4 lines of balls by relocating them around a grid to destroy them. The balls that you select to move must have a path to the destination, and with every move you make, new balls spawn into the play area, quickly filling it up. It's a decent concept, but the hexagon shapes do make it super annoying to actually select grid locations, but all in all, not a bad game and a pretty enjoyable time filler. Top 3 then, and Lava Golf is a mini golf game which is undoubtedly best played in multiplayer. Its levels are filled with lava and sand, with lava melting your ball and consuming a stroke, whilst sand reduces the power of your shots. It's not too bad, but unfortunately it's quite short-lived due to the limited number of holes to play, and the arrow is also very hard to aim and judge the power of your shots. Not a bad little game though. In second place we have Hex Eggs, another puzzle game which actually confused me a little at first, but the objective of this one is to place various blocks into a board to form horizontal or diagonal lines from one end of the board to the other to then destroy them. Again, it's not a bad little concept and works well as a single player time filler game. Finally, my number 1 rated game in this 30 game mashup is River Defense, which as you can see is basically Zuma in all but name. Fire off your coloured balls into the encroaching trail of balls to match 3 colours and destroy them, destroy all of them to move on to the next level, but let the balls reach your character and unfortunately it's game over. It's an old classic which you can't go wrong with really, and it's as fun as it ever was. So that's it, that's every one of the 30 games in the Party Planet 30 in 1 Game Collection Volume 1. Hopefully you found this video useful and it gave you a better understanding of what you're getting for your cash. I personally think that unless you're getting it on sale, it's not really worth it considering the quality of some of these games and the fact that only a portion of them can be played in multiplayer, but let me know if you picked it up and what you thought of it. For now though, drop a like if this one helped you out, subscribe for more Nintendo Switch content, and until next time, take care of yourselves and game on.